Good evening, everyone. I'm Rakhi Gautam from greytHR, the moderator for the Parichay webinar session today. Thank you so much for taking out the time and joining us. Before we dive into the topic, let's do a little housekeeping on how the session goes. So the session is divided in two parts. The first part will be the discussion with our expert, which will then be followed by an audience Q&A. So audience Q&A is where time is all yours. You can start putting across your questions from now, and we will take them up towards the end. Also, this session is currently being recorded. So if you happen to miss out on anything, do not worry at all. We'll share the recording with you once it is done, and it will also be available on greytHR's official YouTube channel under the playlist Parichay. So you can always go there and watch it later. Now, considering the topic for today is Union Budget 2025, I'm sure there are a lot of questions that all of you would have. And in order to cover all those, correctly, and we don't miss out on any questions that you ask, what we have done for this webinar is there's a bit of a change in the format. We would request each one of you to share your questions in the Q&A option that you can see on the screen with your name, email ID, company name, and then the question. For example, my name is Rakhi Gautam and I have a question. I will write name Rakhi, company name greytHR, question XYZ. So that in case your question is, we are not able to cover it in the next 60 minutes, we will connect with you offline and we will share the insights from our expert on that question, and we will share it across to you over your email ID. We have also put the format in the chat panel right now. So you can always, you can check that and share your questions accordingly. Of course, we'll try to cover as many as we can. But considering this is budget, and as I said, a lot of questions would come in, we don't want to miss out on anything. Hence, this format would greatly be appreciated if you all follow this. Now, I think we have the quorum with us to start the discussion. So without any further ado, we'll quickly jump on to the discussion that we have. But before that, a little overview of what all we will be covering today. So as the government unveiled its fiscal blueprint for the coming year, today our aim is to provide a clear and comprehensive understanding of its key provisions. So we will explore the impact of the budget on various sectors, especially the middle class, businesses, and salaried employees. Our expert for today will discuss the new income tax proposal, including changes to tax regimes, exemptions, and the introduction of the direct tax code. So, let's jump into this. And as I said, if you have any questions, you can start putting across from now on. And before that, let me quickly take you all through our speaker's profile. Many of you do know her already. She's been a fantastic speaker on our Parichay sessions, and I'm sure she has helped with a lot of queries that you also had over the last few months. So we are glad to have you here with us today, CA Ruchika Bhagat. She's graduated from the University of Delhi in the year 1996 and became a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India in 1998. She's a strategic advisor in setting up businesses in India for foreign companies and taking care of its compliances. She specializes in business advisory, tax, regulatory, and risk advisory. She's a business professional with over 26 years of rich experience helping other businesses grow and be more profitable. She has a strong and genuine passion for business growth and sustainability and has a vast knowledge of working with Indian companies as well as many foreign companies. So it's a pleasure to have you here with us today. Thank you so much for joining us, Ruchika.
Sorry. Thank you, Rakhi, first of all. And sorry, all of you, you have to bear my throat today. But I'll try to be as loud as I can and explain myself. And I hope I'll be able to explain.
Sure. Thank you so much for that, Ruchika. Really appreciate, you being here today with us without, with this cold that you have. We hope you get well really, really soon. I know Delhi weather can be a little crazy. So wishing you speedy recovery.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay, let's jump into the questions then. The first question that I have for you today is, as we all know, the government has proposed a budget for 2025 based on the Nyaya philosophy that they have introduced. So how will this impact middle class individuals specifically?
So first of all, Raki, when you say Nyaya philosophy, so one thing is for sure, every time, each and every time, in fact, whenever our finance minister, she introduces any budget, she always gives some title to that. So this time, this is a Nyaya philosophy. So yes, undoubtedly, this is Nyaya philosophy. And this is undoubtedly, it has a significant benefit to the middle class population, what I think. That is, it is impacting on reduction of tax burden along with increasing of disposable income. I must say this, and I think most of the people will agree to this time, because this is the first time, in fact, after almost 27 years, is the first time that government has given such a huge benefit to the individual, I must say. So what I'll do is, in brief, I'll just tell you what are the new introductions in tax, what are the changes in tax, which has significantly impact our salary class, our middle class population. And later on, we'll be discussing all this in detail. So to begin with, first of all, as we all know, there is no tax up to rupees 12 lakh. So this is one thing that we all are aware of, that no, we don't have to pay any taxes till we have income of rupees 12 lakhs. But what we all are not aware of is what component does this 12 lakh has. So basically, if you have a normal income, till normal income reaches 12 lakh, you don't have to pay any taxes. But if your income includes any special income, so when I say special income, that means any income that attracts special rate of taxes. For example, your short term, there's tax rate of 20%, then long term, it is 12.5%, then winning from lottery and gains, it is 30%. So these are special type of incomes. So these special type of incomes are not included in this 12 lakh. One thing. This is the first benefit that the government has given in this budget. Then adding to it, for salary class employees, there is additional advantage of 75,000, which is a standard deduction, which will be given to them. So in total, if you see from a perspective of a salary class employee, income up to rupees 12,75,000 is exempt. Then second change that the government has introduced in this budget is with regard to the tax slab. So earlier, under new tax regime, income up to rupees 3 lakh was exempt. Now they have increased this 3 lakh limit to 4 lakh. So till 4 lakh, you don't have to pay any taxes. By the time your income reaches till 8 lakh, that is, if you are standing somewhere between 4 lakh to 8 lakh, then you have to pay taxes at the rate of 5%. Then the next slab starts from 8 lakh. 8 till 12, tax rate is 10%. Then 12 till 16, it is 15. Then 16 till 20, it is 20%. Then 20 till 24, it is 25. And if you have income above 24 lakhs, then in that case, tax is 30%. So these are the major changes. Rest I'll be detailing but later on. But these are the major changes that have impacted the life of the middle class segment. This has undoubtedly created disposable income in their hands, and I must say it has ultimately increased to their, it has boosted up their household consumption, it has boosted up their savings, their investments. And another thing that I want to add here is, each and every time government is trying to simplify tax structure. So again, in this budget, government has also taken steps for simplifying this tax structure so that tax litigation is reduced. And what I think is, ultimately, this all changes, what all has been brought in budget 2025, it will ultimately give a boost to our economy. Because look, when we are churning the money in the market, the economy ultimately gets boosted up. So in total, if you say that this is an budget, what they have explained, what the title they have given to it, and it will give a financial stability to the middle class segment.
Thank you for outlining that, Ruchika, for us. And as you said, it's a Nyaya philosophy that they've taken, right? So this is the Nyaya that they're doing for the middle class, hopefully. Thank you for
Yes.
that. Now, coming to my next question, which is the most talked about right now, which you also highlighted, that with income up to rupees 12 lakh, it's being tax free. If we have to say 12 lakh plus 75,000, so till 12 lakh 75,000, there's no tax, right? So does this apply to both the new and old tax regime, or is it only restricted to new regime? Because this is again one of the questions which are being talked about a lot. So if you could please
So
help us.
yes, Raki, one thing is very sure. Government do not want to promote old tax regime. That is why each and every change that government is bringing, they want to bring it in new tax regime. Because ultimately they are promoting new tax regime. And if you see our history, like it's not history, I can say, if you see the data of income tax filing since last year, so almost if you say around 13 crore ITRs were filed, so 70% of the ITRs that were filed were under new tax regime. So people are opting more and more for new tax regime. That is why all these changes, whatever changes have been brought into by the government, they are under new tax regime. They are not under old tax regime. So this 12 lakh figure, again, this 75,000 figure, that is under new tax regime, not under old tax regime. And if I give you a comparative data of this, so if you have similar 12 lakh income under old tax regime, your total tax liability would have been 1,72,500. And now, because you are going a new tax regime, then in this case, your entire income is exempt. So there's a difference of 1,72,500 between old and new tax regime, if you have similar 12 lakh income.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Ruchika. Now, we did touch upon, 12 lakh plus 12 lakh 75,000 being tax free because of the standard deduction, right? So, is the exemption applicable up to rupees 12 lakh and 12.7 lakh, 75 lakh, as I said? And also, what are the differences, basic differences between these two limits that all of us should be aware of?
Look, as I have already said, that this 12 lakh is specifically for income. So when I say income, I can have income from salary, I can have income from house property, I can have income from business income, or from any other sources. So when my normal income, again, as I said, when normal income means that income which is taxable as per the slab rates, which do not attract any specific rate or special rates. So if my normal income, which is taxable as per the slab rates, is up to rupees 12 lakh, then my entire income is exempt. But if I, being specifically a salary class employee, then in that case, I have an additional advantage of 75,000. That is for standard deduction. That means normal income till 12 lakh is anyhow exempt, but I will get an additional benefit of 75,000 under standard deduction. And in total, I will get the benefit of 12 lakh 75,000. So that is the benefit available to the salary class employee, not to all employees.
Understood. So, salaried employees, is the keyword here that everybody should be aware of. Okay,
Exactly.
thank you for that, Ruchika. Now, of course, there are other changes also, right? So if you could specify what are the other changes that we should be aware of, and if it can directly affect an employee salary.
So one thing that I have already discussed is regarding this 12 lakh. Obviously, that is going to increase the pockets of any employee. In fact, salary class employee, middle class segment, everyone. One thing is that. Second thing is, as I have discussed, our slab rate has been increased. Earlier it was 3 lakh, now it is 4 lakh. But I'll be coming to this topic again, and I'll be discussing this along with figures. Apart from this, there are also other major changes, like in case of interest on securities. So in case of interest on securities, the threshold limit for TDS has been increased. So earlier, TDS at the rate of 10% used to be deducted if you receive interest income up to rupees 5,000. Now, this threshold limit has been increased to 10,000. Means if in case I'm getting interest up to 10,000, there will be no TDS. But as and when this interest income will exceed rupees 10,000, then TDS will be deducted at the rate of 10%. So this is the one benefit. And apart from this, the same benefit has been given in case of dividend also. So earlier, in case of dividend, the threshold limit was of rupees 5,000. So till 5,000, I was not supposed to, no TDS was supposed to be deducted on my income. But now this threshold limit has been increased to 10,000. So till 10,000, no TDS will be deducted. And the best part is there is a benefit for senior citizens and super senior citizens. So earlier what used to happen was for senior citizens, if they are having any FD interest, so TDS was deducted on FD interest if the interest exceeds 50,000 at the rate of 10%. And they were supposed to file 15H form. They were supposed to go to banks to file 15H form. And in case if anyhow they failed to file that 15H form, then TDS was deducted. But now government has enhanced this limit from 50,000 to rupees 1 lakh, which means if they have interest income up to rupees 1 lakh, then no TDS is going to be deducted from their income. This is the good advantage that they have. Reason being, it is really hardship for them to go to banks specifically at this age and then file all those forms. So till 1 lakh income, no TDS will be deducted in their case. But if interest income exceeds 1 lakh, then only TDS at the rate of 10% will be deducted. And apart from this, there are major changes with regard to winning from lotteries, crossword puzzles. So earlier there was a consolidated figure of 10,000 on which TDS was deducted, but now on single transaction of 10,000, on winning amount of 10,000, TDS will be deducted. As I said, I'll be coming back to the calculation part with regard to the tax benefit that I'm getting. So in case of old tax regime, supposingly I have an income of 40 lakhs. I have taken a rough figure of 40 lakhs. Suppose I have an income of 40 lakhs for the entire year. If I would have been covered under old tax regime, then my tax would have been 9,37,500 for the entire year. But if I'm covered under new tax regime, then it is 8,90,000. But now, after coming this budget of 2025, that is from 1st April 2025, my tax will be reduced to 7,80,000 rupees. So in total, if you see, there is a huge gap, there is a huge tax saving. So almost I have a tax saving of around 6,000 to 7,000 per month because of this new budget, introduction of this new budget. Because government has introduced, they have increased the slab rate, they have increased the higher exemption limit. So my in-pocket savings has increased almost by 6,000 because of this.
Sure. Thank you for sharing that and also giving us an example to see how such a variant is there. Previously, it was almost over 9 lakh and then 8 lakh in the new tax regime, and now it's like 7 lakh. So thank you so
Exactly.
much for.
So you can say 1 lakh saving in total you have, but apart from that 1 lakh, you have 6,000. So in total 1 lakh 6,000 saving is there per year.
Got it. Thank you for that, Ruchika. Now, of course, since there are a lot of changes that's been introduced by the government in this budget, a lot of compliances would have to be taken care of by the companies as well. So, what adjustments specifically should companies make to their payroll structure in response to these tax changes?
So look, one thing is for sure. Again, we have to compare our income in old tax regime as well as in new tax regime, because obviously in whichsoever regime I am more beneficial, I'll be paying tax as per that. And being a salary class employee, I always have this option to switch over from old tax regime to new tax regime and vice versa. So this is the benefit that I have. And I think I must explore this benefit whenever I'm filing my ITRs. So I need to check, in fact, at the time of filing of return or before the start of the financial year. So financial year is near to come from 1st April 2025. I can anytime check my income and I can calculate in which way I am more beneficial, either under old tax regime or new tax regime. So if in case employee is better off under new tax regime, then that is good to go. But if in case employee is better off in old tax regime, then in that case, again, it is the responsibility of HR to collect all the investment proofs from the employee, because he might have invested to claim the allowances. So this your HR need to check one thing. Another thing is TDS. So our TDS, it starts getting deducted from day one, from April month only. So he or she need to calculate the tax whatsoever employee is supposed to pay, and then TDS will be deducted on that. And apart from this, there is also maximum marginal rates. So HR also need to calculate the applicable slab rate, that is new slab rate that will be applicable. Apart from that, maximum marginal rates will be also be applicable. So all these calculation need to be done by HR, and then TDS has to be deducted accordingly on that.
Okay, so just like a follow-up question to this, right? Will these reforms impact employer contribution to benefits like EPF and gratuity?
Well, yes, you can say they are going to affect. So one thing is here. So earlier what used to happen was I used to bifurcate my salary in such a way that part of it is gone to basic pay, rest part is distributed in allowances, so that I can get the more tax advantage and my income tax liability is minimal. That was the structure that I used to follow, just because I obviously, being a salary class employee, I have to pay taxes anyhow. So I used to draft my salary structure in such a sense that part of it has to be distributed in allowances so that I can get the maximum benefit. So the only concern here is, now since income up to 12 lakh is entirely exempt, so employee will obviously, he will want that he can get the maximum of it as a basic pay, because anyhow it is totally exempt. So if in case employee want maximum of the part of the salary as a basic pay only, then there are two social security benefits they are going to affected by this. One is with regard to provident fund, because the provident fund contribution will be now 1800 per month in that case. Second thing is with regard to your gratuity component, because when you will be getting you will be getting gratuity at the time of retirement or leaving the company. So your gratuity is always calculated on your last drawn salary. So if in case your basic pay is high, obviously it is going to increase your gratuity. Somehow this is in the favor of employee if basic pay is increased rather than increasing the allowances part, but undoubtedly employer has to pay more in that case. So that will be the mutual whatsoever arrangement the employer-employee will be having. But ultimately, employee can get more gratuity if he or she is taking more of basic pay, if they are covered within the limit of 12,75,000.
Understood. Thank you for that, Ruchika. Now, in the past few years, especially after the pandemic, I think we have seen the significance and the growth of gig workers in the market, right? So, are there any benefit specifically for gig workers under the new tax regime that they should be aware of?
Yes. So under this new tax regime, now gig workers are eligible for social security benefits similar to any other employee. So first of all, I need to understand who are the gig workers. So basically, gig workers are independent contractors, they are freelancers, or they are temporary employees who are undertaken for short-term assignments rather than having a full-time roles. So for example, if any employee that is working with Uber, or he's working with Swiggy, Zomato or Zepto, so these are all covered under gig workers. They are all considered as gig workers. So under budget 2025, government has provided an initiative. So they have started a policy of introducing an I-card, that is e-shram registration card, to all the gig workers. So all these gig workers will be covered by e-shram portal card under PM Jan Arogya Yojana, and they will be covered for the social security benefits. So if this will be implemented, so around, you can say, 1 crore of gig workers will be getting the social security benefit, and ultimately it will improve their financial securities and will give them more access to the social security benefits.
Okay, thank you for that, Ruchika. I think this really helps, and a lot of content creators, I think specifically, are very happy with this new update that's been done. Okay, so
Exactly.
now moving on to this new tax code that's been introduced called direct tax code, right? So how will this direct tax code simplify the taxation processes for individual as well as corporations?
So look, this new direct tax code. So because earlier we were having direct tax law 1961, that is quite old. So government was, it has been proposing that they will be coming with new direct tax code. This they proposed initially when BJP government, I think BJP one was appointed. So from there only they were having this, they took this initiative that they will be changing direct tax. Now they have come up with direct tax code, though it has not been passed as law yet. It is yet to be it has been presented to parliament as a proposal, not yet cleared from the parliament, but still it has certain major changes that we can discuss, which will ultimately affect a common person. So I'll be discussing only those points that will be affecting the common person out of this direct tax code. So one thing is, earlier we used to have two different definitions. One is previous year and one is assessment year. And normal layman person often used to get confused between what is previous year and what is assessment year, unless and until you are a commerce graduate or you have a commerce background. So that was the main challenge, first of all. So now they have simplified the terminology in this new direct tax code, and they have removed the term previous year and assessment year. They have just introduced a simple term, that is tax year. So tax year is year for which you are paying tax. And in India, our tax year starts from April, it ends till March. So even if I'm starting my business or I have started my job in December somewhere, December 25. So simply my tax year will be December 25 till March 26. That's it. So there is no assessment year, there is no previous year. Simply I have a tax year for which I have to pay my taxes or I have to file my ITR. So this is the one simplification that government has given, which will affect a common layman person. As I said, I'll be discussing only those changes which are going to affect a layman person. Second thing is there were multiple slab rates. So government has tried to reduce those slab rates. Earlier it was different slab rates for senior citizens, then super senior citizens, and then normal SSC. Now they are trying to reduce all. They want to create one slab rate. One thing is that, then second thing, that will affect undoubtedly every person, each and every individual who owns a house property. So earlier, there was a concept of one self-occupied house property. If in case I have two house property and due to any XYZ reasons, I am not occupying those two house properties, they were self-occupied. Still, I was supposed to pay taxes on one house property as deemed to be house property, deemed to be let out. But now new tax code has given us the benefit that I can take both these house properties. I can consider both these house properties as self-occupied house property and no tax will be paid. So again, I repeat, if I have two self-occupied house properties, earlier I was supposed to pay tax on one property. That was for sure, considering it as deemed to be let out. But now both these house property will be treated as self-occupied and no tax will be paid. Another major benefit that has been given to individual in direct tax code is, if in case I have one property which is partly let out and partly vacant due to any reasons. Earlier, what used to happen was I used to pay taxes on one property. Sorry, I used to pay taxes on the entire value of the property, that is for the entire 12 months. But now I will be paying taxes only for the period for which it is actually let out, not for the entire 12 months. So these are the few benefits that individual is going to get from this new direct tax code.
Thank you for specifying that, Ruchika. Really appreciate it. I hope everybody is taking notes in the audience. Also, I see a lot of people raising their hands. So if you have any questions, any feedback, you can just put it across the Q&A option panel, which is available on your screen. Just type your question there and we'll take it from there. Okay, moving on to my next question, which is again a lot of, apprehensions, a lot of curiosity has been around the new tax regime since the time it's been introduced, right? In all the webinars that we do, there's always one question on old versus new tax regime. So, if you could help us understand what are the implications with the new tax regime specifically for businesses?
So this is the first time that we are discussing businesses in this platform, but this is something good because obviously what I feel is most of the employees, they are doing one thing or the other thing to have more income apart from doing their job. So if in case you are doing any business, one thing is for sure, your slab rate has been increased. So in business, you don't have any standard deduction. I'm sorry for that. You won't be getting that. That is only in case of salary class employees. Apart from this, there are other benefits also. So earlier, what used to happen was whenever we used to pay any children education fees outside India, above 7 lakhs, there was a TCS of 5%. But now this has been removed. So now you don't have to pay any TCS if any income is paid outside India for your children education as your children education fees. That is the advantage that is given to a layman person. And apart from this, if you are covered under presumptive income, if you are doing business and being covered under presumptive income, so if you see the changes, I can earn income of 50 lakhs and under presumptive income, if I'm not a professional, I'm supposed to pay net profit. My net profit will be 8% of 50 lakhs. 8% of 50 lakhs comes to be 4 lakhs. And my income is totally exempt. So till 50 lakh, as a businessman, if I am having income till 50 lakhs, it means I don't have to pay any taxes. So if the same figure I compare with the last year, then in that case, till 37 lakh 50,000, I was not supposed to pay any taxes. But you see, there's a huge gap now. So if you are a businessman, you're covered under presumptive income. This is one part that I am covering. If you are covered under 8%, if you are covered under 50%, you can compute simultaneously. So, but here I'm taking just one example of 8%. So I, being a businessman, if I'm covered under presumptive income and I am paying taxes, then a 8% of 50 lakh is 4 lakh. I don't have to pay any taxes. That is still 50 lakh. Again, as I said, your income is totally exempt. Apart from this, there are also threshold limits that have been increased in case of TDS. For salary class, I have already discussed. For business class, if you are earning any commission income. So for insurance commission income, the threshold limit has been increased from 15,000 to 20,000. Then from brokerage commission, it has been increased again from 15,000 to 20,000. And here, if you have a property that you have given on rent, so earlier what used to happen was till 20,000 per month, that is in total 2,40,000 for the entire year. If you are getting rent, no TDS was there. But as in when your rent income exceeds rupees 2,40,000 for the entire year, there was a TDS of 10%. But now this threshold limit has been increased from 2,40,000 till 6 lakhs. That is, you can earn rent of 50,000 rupees per month and no TDS will be deducted on that rent. That is the best part. Then for professional and technical services, if you are getting, earlier TDS threshold limit was 30,000. That is, if you are getting any income from 30 up to 30,000, then TDS, beyond that TDS of 10% was charged. But now this 30,000 limit has been exceeded to 50,000. Till 50,000, no TDS will be deducted. Beyond 50,000, TDS will be deducted. Similarly, for enhanced compensation also, the amount has been increased. That is, earlier it was 2,50,000 and now it is rupees 5 lakhs. So there are advantages by giving by increasing the threshold limit in case of TDS. One thing, as I said, then indirectly the increase in slab rate is going to affect you. Then if you are covered under presumptive income, again it is going to help you out. Then there certain other benefits also with regard to litigation part, as government has now tried to simplify our litigation. So there are several other benefits which a businessman can get through this new budget 2025.
Thank you for such a comprehensive answer, Ruchika. This really helps and a lot of benefits, I must say, for the businesses, if they're opting under the new tax regime. So thank you for sharing that. Now I'm coming back to my question on the direct tax code. So how does this new, direct tax code address the taxation of virtual digital assets? Are there any implications? Is there anything that we should be aware of in that case?
Look, virtual digital assets are one thing, that is cryptocurrency. This is one thing that people were frequently trading, but they were not disclosing. One thing. So last time only government has come up with it. Government has introduced tax of flat 30% on it. And now this time government has come up with more clarification in this budget 2025 regarding this VDAs. So VDAs, again, as I said, that tax will be 30%. No expense will be allowed on VDAs. One thing, when I say no expense, so any expense if I am doing for getting my business income is a allowable expense. But specifically in case of VDAs, if you are incurring any expense, even though you are incurring those expense for earning VDA income, but still that expense is not allowed as a business expense. So flat, you have to pay tax at the rate of 30%. Addition to it, government has this time introduced TDS at the rate of 1% on transactional value. So if I am going to sell my VDA, in that case, there will be TDS at the rate of 1% of sale price. So this 1% is similar to the sale of land. So many of us will be aware, whenever we sell any house property or any land, then in that case, there is TDS at the rate of 1% on sale price. On the similar lines only, parallel to it, they have introduced this new section, that is 194S. Under this new section, whenever you are going to sell VDAs, then your buyer will be deducting TDS at the rate of 1% on the sale price of VDA and will share a TDS certificate with you that this much tax has been deposited to the government. One thing. Another thing is, now we have to disclose VDAs to government as our income. If any VDA has been remained as undisclosed, then it will be considered as my undisclosed income and will be under the scrutiny assessment. So if in case any of us is having VDA, then we need to make a disclosure for that VDA in my returns. So if in case I have made any wrong disclosure or disclosure is not up to the specifications or it is not in the prescribed manner, then government can give me further 30 days more to rectify that defect, and I have to rectify that defect within 30 days. If in case I do not rectify that defect in 30 days, it is considered that that disclosure has never been made. Again, it will be treated as an undisclosed income. So if any of our viewer is having any VDA, then they need to make disclosure after April 2025.
Thank you for that, Ruchika. Now, just last question from my end for this discussion today. If you could help us understand the relief provided under Section 87A. I think these are also one of the FAQs that's been going around. So if you could help us understand this.
So, Rakhi, one thing I have already discussed, that our income is exempt up to 12 lakhs. So, point here is that if I see my slab starts from 4 lakh. That is what I say is till 4 lakh, no income is taxable. And then from 4 to 5, 4 to 8, and then further it goes on. I have 5%, 10%, 15%, 25%, and 30% tax. But simultaneously, I'm also saying till 12 lakh, I don't have any taxable income. So how come there is a difference between 12 lakh and 4 lakh? So this is because of the relief under Section 87A that I get. So due to this benefit, even though my income is exempt up to rupees 4 lakh, my slab rate starts from 4 lakh, but again, I have income exempt up to rupees 12 lakh. That is till 12 lakh, I don't have to pay any taxes just because of this relief under section 87A. So it is almost around 60,000 of the tax that I don't have to pay. So this is the benefit. Apart from this, I want to also mention one thing, as I have been speaking from the beginning, that when I say income, income never includes any income which is taxable at special rate. That is short-term capital gain, long-term capital gain, or winning from lotteries, anything like that. So I'm just hereby talking about the normal income. So normal income is exempt up to 4 lakh, but still I don't have to pay taxes till 12 lakh income just because of this relief under 87A. Apart from this, I also have a maximum marginal relief. So what is this maximum marginal relief? If you have any income above 12 lakh, supposingly I have income of 12 lakh 10,000 rupees. Till 12 lakh, I don't have to pay any taxes. But as and when my income increases to 12 lakh 10,000, my taxes are 61,500. So nobody will be interested in paying taxes of 61,500 just because my income has increased by 10,000 over and above 12 lakhs. So just to give this relief to the individuals, government has come up with maximum marginal relief. So in case of maximum marginal relief, your tax will be income, that is difference of income between 12 lakh and actual income that you have, or the tax that you are supposed to pay, whichever is less. For example, just now as I have taken, if I have income of 12 lakh 10,000, then my taxes are 61,500. But I am supposed to pay taxes only of rupees 10,000 because about 12 lakh, my income is 10,000 more. That's it. On the same lines, if I have income of 12 lakh 50,000, then my taxes are 67,500. But I have to pay taxes up to rupees 50,000 only because my income do not, in difference of my income do not exceed 50,000. On the similar line, if I go on till 12 lakh 75,000, I'm not supposed to pay taxes more than 75,000. So that is my break-even point. So there are two benefits. One, as I said, although the slab rate starts from 4 lakh, but still my income is exempt up to 12 lakh. Second is marginal relief that I get over and above income of 12 lakh till 12 lakh 75,000. That is, I have to pay minimum tax. That is tax which is actual tax liability or the difference between the income and 12 lakh rupees.
Thank you for that, Ruchika, and breaking this down for us. This really helps. This has been, wonderful conversation. You shared a lot of insights on this new budget that's been introduced and what are the implications for both employees as well as employers. I'll quickly move on to the audience questions and try to take as many as we can. But in the meantime, as I have informed the audience also, we will not because we'll try to cover most of the questions, but if in case there are any questions pending, we'll get back to you with the responses very soon on your email. So this question, most of these questions we've already discussed in our discussion, but still we'll take these up. This question has been shared by Divya Kumari. There are three questions here. You just gave us the detailing also, but if you want to take this up, we can. Otherwise, we can always skip it. The first question is the detailed salary calculation method for employees under the new tax regime.
So look, under new tax regime, as I have already discussed, till 12 lakhs, it is totally exempt. And you have additional 75,000 of standard deduction. So this is entirely your option, which way you want to go for. In fact, I have discussed this also. You can take entire 12 lakh as your basic pay, provided your employer agrees to it. Because obviously, if he is going to pay you basic pay as 12 lakh, then obviously his gratuity liability will increase. His social security liability will increase. So depending upon the what your employer wants, so it should be a mutual win-win situation for both of you. So till 12 lakh, it is anyhow exempt. So it is entirely your option, which way you want to go for, how you want to draft your salary structure.
Got it. The next question is the deductions available to employees under this new tax regime.
So this is a normal question that I always face for most of the people. What are the deductions under new tax regime? So there is no deduction under new tax regime. We must remember this. So I think now this is almost second year and it is going to be third year now. So we are getting used to this thing. Under new tax regime, there is no deductions under Section 80. Except for NPS, there is no other benefit.
Understood. And the third question is, any significant changes from the old tax regime to the new one that employees should be aware of?
So look, I have discussed almost all the changes. There is a change with regard to your standard deduction. So under new tax regime, it was 50. Now it has been increased to 75. Then under new tax, old tax regime, your slab rate started from 2,50,000. Now it is starting from 7 lakh. Under old tax regime, your income was exempt. I think it was 7,75,000. Now it is 12,75,000. So I think I have covered almost all of the points.
Understood. Moving on to the next question, which is from Ramanath Shetty from WeWork. This question also you touched upon, but again, I'll just take this up. This is already answered, but the question is about marginal relief and how it works and till which limit does it exist?
So look, limit is 12,75,000 for marginal relief. As I said, you have to calculate two figures. One is difference between your total income and 12 lakh. That is first thing. Second thing is tax. So whichsoever is less can be your tax which you can pay under marginal relief.
Understood. Next question is from Kaushik. Again, Kaushik Venkatesh, he's from Resource Solutions. This is the same question. It's been already covered. First question is there any marginal relief on income tax under new tax regime? And the second question is, and the second question is, what all deductions we can claim under new tax regime?
So I think I've already answered this question.
Yes. The next question again from Subha. I'm taking the name and the question so that you know your answer is covered. In case you want to go back and watch the recording again for a detailed answer, you can always do that. Subhash Kumar also has the same question on marginal relief benefit plan. So this has already been discussed.
So I think if in case this is a confusion, we can have a separate session only on marginal relief.
Definitely. We'll keep that in mind. Depending on the response that we are getting, we can surely plan another session. Okay, I will now move on to this. The question from Asha Priya. This was also explained, but I'll just read it out in case there's anything more to add. Since you're saying that up to 12.75 lakh, there's no tax. But again, you said that from 4 to 8 lakh, the taxes is 5%. Can you please explain more on this?
Exactly. Look, Asha, as I said, that till 4 lakh, your slab rate always starts from 4 lakh. And then under new budget, that is 2025. But our taxes, as in when your income will exceed 12,75,000, then only you are supposed to pay taxes. The difference between this 4 lakh and 12 lakh is because of relief under Section 87A. One thing, and 75,000 is additional because of standard deduction.
Understood. Thank you for that. Another question is from an anonymous attendee. The question is, what is the standard deduction for old tax regime?
Look, standard deduction is 75,000. Initially, it was 50,000, but in last budget, it was increased to 75,000. That was for new tax regime.
Thank you for that. Next question is from Mohit Sharma. Again, I think you have explained this with an example, but I'll just take this up in case you want to add something more to it. What will be the benefit for the employees who have salary more than 12,75,000? For example, let's say 13,50,000. What will be the benefit as compared to last year?
Look, as I said, if in case you have salary more than 12,75,000, obviously you are going to calculate your salary, your taxes in both the ways, under old tax regime as well as under new tax regime. So whichever is more beneficial to you, because under old tax regime, we have several deductions. We have exemptions under Section 10. HRA we have. So there are so many other benefits that we have under old tax regime. So calculate your salary in both the ways. And thankfully, for any person who do not have any business income, they can anytime change their tax regime. from old to new or new to old, vis-a-vis. So that is entirely your option. But before taking any decision, you just simply calculate your salary, and this calculator, tax calculator, is available on each and every, I think whenever you Google it, you will find it. In fact, on income tax portal also, you will get this software.
Okay. Next question is from Bharat Negi. On salary structure, why should we do it employee wise? As employer, we have to consider the recommendation of wage codes and the allowances should be there to a minimum amount.
So why you have to calculate employee wise?
Yes, that's the question.
So why we have to calculate salary employee wise? Because each and every employee has a different salary, one thing. So because they have different salary, obviously they are going to have different tax brackets. So you need to calculate the salary employee wise. Obviously, you being HR or you being employer, you have to deduct TDS also. So unless and until you have your their tax computation in your hands, you cannot compute their TDS. And obviously, if you, in case you are paying wrong TDS or not deducting TDS, ultimately that is your tax liability that you have to bear. That is why.
Understood. Next question is from Mukund P. He's from Toast App Private Limited. There are two questions. First is, I understand from some of the articles online that leave encashment gratuity drawn on the final salary is also exempted under tax from tax under new tax regime. Is that correct?
No, as such, I haven't come across any such thing that leave encashment or gratuity is leave encashment gratuity limit is same. In fact, leave encashment limit was extended in last budget 2024. But all I remember, but this time, as such, there is no major change in leave encashment. In fact, no change in leave encashment or gratuity.
So it's not exempted under from tax under new tax regime.
No, as such not. So it is exempt for government employees. For non-government employee, again, it is the same, like you are covered under Gratuity Act or not covered under Gratuity Act. Based on that, we calculate the gratuity. That's it.
Understood. The second question is, can we use the PF employer contribution for tax exemption purposes under new tax regime?
So look, as I said, almost this, you are not going to get any benefit as under new tax regime. Benefits under new tax regime are same which were described earlier in, I think it was declared in budget 2023. So the same thing is prevailing since then. There is no major changes with regard to deductions or allowances. So initially only when government declared that budget, government made this clear they do not want to implement own tax regime. By and by they are thinking of removing this old tax regime.
Understood. The next question, I see one question from Anand on marginal relief. We have already covered that. If you still have any questions, you can go back to the recording and watch it. The second question, this question is from Sudhashri from Analog. This is just a very general question. By giving more benefits in new regime, is government not encouraging saving and investments for the people?
Government is not encouraging or it is encouraging?
Is government encouraging?
Undoubtedly, government is encouraging savings. Look, if you have more cash in hand, it is entirely your discretion which way you want to go for. So I think most of the people, sensibly, if you want to invest this money, obviously you will be investing either in bank or you will be investing in market. So that is, in fact, that is the right way to invest. So even I do promote that if I have any excess cash available with me, I'll be investing that money rather than spending that.
Understood. Next question is from Rajendra. NPS 14%, is it applicable for old tax regime?
So look, as I said, almost provisions are same. There is no change in NPS. So it's each and every provision that is same. The only changes that were there, we have already discussed. There is no change apart from that.
Understood. Another question is from Divya Kumari from MSB Docs on marginal relief. We have already covered this, Divya. You can, if you still have any questions, you can go back and watch the recording. If you still, anybody in the audience, if they still have any more questions or require any more detailing, you can email to us and we'll get back to you with the responses. I think most of the questions now I'm browsing through, we have covered. A lot of questions were actually on marginal relief. It's great that we have covered these. I'll just check. So there's one question that I can see from Ramananda V. Joshi. FPB component, is it applicable under the new tax regime? Again, we have covered, but yeah.
We have covered that exactly.
Yes. So most of these are covered. I don't see any new question coming. This also, we have, so a lot of questions are already covered. But see, I'll take this. This looks like a new question, but anyway. So this is from Sanya Chopra from OVE. Can we claim transport allowance reimbursement in new tax regime? As many sources online say that we can.
Look, reimbursement are not covered under Section 80 and not covered under Section 10. So you can anytime claim your reimbursement under new as well as old tax regime. That is one benefit that you have under new tax regime. You can claim your reimbursement because reimbursement are basically the expenses that you have already incurred and your employer is paying for the same. So they are undoubtedly allowable.
Understood. Rest of the questions we have covered. There's just one, this I think we can take this up. This is from Shobha. This is the last question that we are taking. This is from Shobha from Outbooks Outsourcing Limited. What is the tax rate for LTCG and STCG?
For LTCG, it is 12.5. For STCG, it is 20%.
Understood. Thank you so much, Ruchika. Before I properly thank you, there's one comment from an anonymous attendee on the recording. So, anybody who registers with a valid email ID, they get a thank you mailer from all of us, from greytHR team, as you know, latest by next week, within 7 days time, where we share the recording link as well as our experts' email ID. So same way we will do for this webinar also. We will share this recording with you along with Ruchika Bhagat's email ID. In case you want to directly get in touch with her, you can do that. In case by any chance you're not able to get the email ID, you can always check your spam folder also. Even if you don't have it there, what you can do, you can visit our greytHR official YouTube channel and go onto the playlist called Parichay. You will have access to all the latest, last some 70 episodes that we have done under Parichay. You will see all the recordings available there. I would just request my team member to add the official greytHR channel link here in the chat for everyone, so that people can access it. Okay, I think we have covered most of the questions. In case there are any more questions pending, you can always, reach out to us again and we'll shortly answer those questions. But thank you so much once again, Ruchika, for being here with us. This was a wonderful discussion, you being here, despite, you not being well. We truly, truly appreciate your time and, all the valuable insights that you shared.
Thanks to you, Rakhi. Thanks for giving me this opportunity for being here and discuss this budget. Thank you. Thank you to all
Thank you
viewers.
so much, Ruchika. Thank you so much. And to all the participants as well, thank you so much for taking out the time and joining us. It was a great session and it was great to host all of you here today. As promised, be rest assured you're going to get all the recordings in your inbox. My team member has also added the YouTube link. I would urge each one of you to just click on the chat and see the YouTube link. You can subscribe it right away and you will get the updates as and when new recordings are uploaded. Also, I'm going to share the registration link of our upcoming webinar, which is going to be conducted on 11th March at 4 p.m. It's going to be on workplace automation and the human touch, striking the right balance. So we know that we have been using such tools and technologies in our HR functions today, how we can not take human out of HR, out of human resources. This is the discussion that we'll have on 11th March. I would urge each one of you to register. I have added the chat link, the link here in chat. You can open that and register right now. Also, a lot of you are already aware, but those who are not, we have a Grey Tribe community. It's a knowledge sharing platform. It's free of cost. You can sign up to this community today and you would have access to experts like Ruchika, who can help you with any queries that you may have related to HR, tax, compliance, and we would be happy to help you out there. So you can sign up to this Grey Tribe community. We are also available on WhatsApp. This is the QR code. So you can scan this QR code and you can connect with us on WhatsApp for faster assistance for any queries related to our product, training, or these webinars that we have been conducting. Also, as promised in the beginning, this recording will be shared with all of you, and also it will be sent, it will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. So you can always go there and watch it later. But in case you still have any more questions, you can write to me on the email ID, which is available on the screen, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Once again, thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. Thank you so much, Ruchika, for being here with us. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. We are just going to be here for another 2 minutes for all of you to go visit the YouTube channel that we have added in the chat and the registration link for our upcoming webinar. We'll end the session at 5-6, so you have some 3 minutes with you. Please go and visit the links that we have shared with you. And thank you so much once again for joining us. We hope to see you in the next webinar very soon.